almost done. Tell him Manny looks good. You just want something from him. Tell him he looks good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk the Walk, episode 17. We have some great news for y'all today. Well, first off, let's go ahead and introduce our guests. We have Badman from the Undisputed Boxing League. We got JMMA, and we got Crooks the Great here joining us once again to talk about some really great news we got coming on the 28th. So let's go ahead and get started. Update. We got a lot of news today regarding the fighters, especially. Um, I'm pretty excited. A few of them were a surprise. They didn't really talk about it too much until this recently. And so I guess let's go ahead and get on the subject. How are we all feeling about this update just in general?
All right, I'll go.
Yeah,
Hey, bro.
I'm
Hey,
about to say
bro.
someone. I know one of y'all's
go ahead,
excited.
Batman. Go ahead, Batman.
Hey, man. I'm excited for one about the update. I think we got a lot of potential things that if it goes well, I keep saying this, if it goes well, it could be fun. As far as the crossplay, the creative fighter, and some of the other things in the patch notes too, we'll touch on. But yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm actually I'm pretty happy with the DLC as well that got announced today or leaked or whatever today. So
Mhm.
I'm curious what the other boys think.
Personally, I thought the DLC was cool. I don't really have a problem with it. I told the story in my video. You're just not going to tangent, but Sergey Kovalev, Andre Ward is like honestly one of my most watched fights because that was like the starting little journey of me like heavily getting into boxing. I was trying to get out of that MMA craze. So those two fights I probably watched the most. So seeing Sergey in there, obviously Manny is a big one. Marioga, definitely another big one. Vinny Paz. So I mean, it's cool. I wouldn't say it's something I'd get excited for. But the update itself, again, uh, the changes, it's just like I don't know because personally I haven't tested maybe like late June and we're about to be in November, so those changes are probably like the actual last thing I got to play. It's like I mean it could have been way more. I mean I feel like it was a lot of wasted time in between. So yeah, the gameplay change is just like it's cool, but it's just like it's not really enough for me. It's really just not enough for me personally. It's cool though. It's like it's solid. It's just like needs to be a little bit more. I just feel like everybody's winding down at this point, you know. So
Right.
Yeah, I feel that. I kind of second what Jay said a little bit. In terms of the gameplay updates themselves, um, there's not a lot that's gonna change. Kind of the core meta issues that we were having. I mean, they added a cooldown to the jab, so I feel like that's gonna limit how much body jab spamming you're gonna get. Um, and they fixed the hook range, which we've been asking for a pretty long time. So that's dope.
Hmm.
I feel like they probably could have, especially with this being such a big update that people were waiting on because
hmm
it's coming with the championship edition of the game. I was hoping to see more of like some adjustment to the footwork that we've been asking for, some adjustments to the pullback meta that we all know people use in the game to try to avoid getting countered, and maybe some stamina taxes, a higher stamina tax to
hmm
the diagonal dodges, and just trying to fix some things that we all in the community have been asking them to fix for quite a long time. But I mean, overall, the hook range is good. We're not gonna be getting with hooks from ungodly ranges anymore, so that's
hmm
nice. Step in body jab, that's cool. If it works the way that it's supposed to work, like Batman was saying, if it works the way that it's supposed to work, we'll be excited with that. In terms of the DLC, I mean, having Manny Pacquiao, and I've said this in my videos, that's a big deal. Because he is one of the first super big popular boxers to be added to the game. And I feel like with him being in the game, it starts to give everybody a little bit of hope that we might be seeing some of the big name boxers that the community's been asking for.
mm
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the first step. I like it. I like that they're finally adding Edgar Berlanga in the game. Vinny Paz, Sergey Kovalev, um, Mayorga. I mean, that those are all really, really solid additions. The free DLC was cool. That's where I thought Jake Paul should have been. He should have been a free DLC, but I mean that's neither here nor there. But overall, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to get my hands on Pacquiao to really see how he plays. Especially, I'm hearing rumors about him having his own new unique animation, so that's always nice as well. But
I don't think
overall,
that's a rumor at this point.
is it? Is it? I know he's getting a new straight. I know he's getting his
Yeah,
own straight animation,
yeah,
but
I don't think that's a rumor. He's pretty
yeah,
much gonna be unique. So yeah.
yeah. So that's exciting.
That's yeah, the update for the most part, gameplay wise, there's a few things that I think they did that are going to be interesting. You know, they're bringing back the physics-based hit reactions, which I know they kind of had to tone back a bit before, because I'm sure you guys remember people would just kind
Hmm.
of walk up on you with the hooks, and if you got
Mhm.
stun locked, that might have been it. So I hope that with their introduction or the reintroduction with them, that they kind of put a better handle on it, so they feel proper. Like if someone's going for a power punch and then you hit him with something, then I think that'd be a proper cause for an interruption.
I
But
think not to cut you
oh
off,
yeah, go
but
ahead.
from my experience with now that it's out, I can say everything. Um, with my experience with it, it was more so like the way what I compared it to. I used Usyk and Fury their first fight
Hmm.
when Usyk catches Fury with the left hand. Fury tries to clinch him by talking to you, Siri, and then he tries to come forward and clinch like he tries to come forward and clinch Usyk. And then Usyk hits him with like a short right hook and he stumbles a little bit more. I think that's like the best way I can like explain it as to
Hmm.
what that is. And I feel like with that, it kind of like mitigates people moving backwards too fast, like when hurt in a rock state or like when they're gas. Well, not really when they're gas, but like when they know they're hurt and they're getting hit, it kind of like gives like that forward moving fighter or the fighter advancing a somewhat of a better chance. We shouldn't be relying on hit reactions for that.
Yeah.
Again, another discussion, but just slower steps. That's why I said it's solid, but like we're a year away. We shouldn't be having a conversation about slower steps. So
Mm.
should be talking about so many other things right
Yeah.
now. But it, it is what it is.
Yeah, like this is like I guess this you could say is a small step in the right direction for now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we probably were thinking there would be a lot more into it considering it's the 1 year anniversary for the console players. And then if you want to be technical, going into February of 2026, I think that is technically the anniversary for PC players when
Mm.
we all first got to play it. So I feel like there's going to be more big updates coming, but they just probably didn't want to cram everything into one and potentially break something in return because that usually tends to happen when they try to do too much at one time.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I agree. If everything kind of works the way it's supposed to work, the body jab stuff won't be as crazy as it has been. And the hooks range, I can't wait to see what that looks like and see how people adjust for those who kind of relied on using hooks all the time and things like that. The online, the one thing that does kind of concern me is that I know we've kind of already talked about this in previous videos. He's pretty much made it clear that the online it's tough to fix with how it is now. My hope with the crossplay inclusion is that there might have been some form of an adjustment to online, even if it's just small, because it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out when it comes to PC versus console to see if there's any real issues that arise when that happens. They started doing bans for those who use mods and things like that for bad intents purposes, so that'll hopefully discourage all of that from happening, so people have fair fights. And I think there was one other thing that I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if this means the quit glitching has been kind of fixed, but they said fixed multiple issues around joining, disconnects, and match end states for online modes. To me, that sounds like those who used to do those kinds of things, maybe there might be kind of not a thing anymore. like if you do it, you might actually have a penalty. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of play that out and see what happens with that. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that's what
Yeah.
that means.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I
Let's
think,
hope so, man.
Yeah, because
Damn, man.
it's,
Let's
I'm
hope so.
sure you guys have
yeah.
dealt with it. You go into ranked, you do really good, and it's like, oh snap, the game went into the little undisputed crown. It's not moving. Uh-oh. And then all of a sudden you load your game back up, you lost SP.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh no. So I'm hoping that might have been their way of saying that that's kind of fixed, but we won't know that for sure. Going into the topic of the DLC with the fighters.
Mhm.
Hey, I don't want
What's
to. Hey, Bacon. I don't want to cut you off, but I want to talk a little bit more about a couple other things
okay?
with this update and get the guys' opinion. I'm kind of curious. I kind of feel like maybe with this patch and then all the stuff that happened around it, I think maybe there was more in it, and maybe they pulled it
Mhm.
back. And I also think if that's true, or even if it's not, I also think maybe there's a sign of something kind of Bacon you alluded to, like coming up in this 2.0 era, maybe we'll start to see like a couple of these changes that like the diagonal dodge, stamina attacks. Like, what are we talking about? Fixing some of the footwork, fixing some of the things that like people have been asking for. I wonder if maybe this is a sign of some of those things to come. And I also wanted to ask the guys, like, what would be in this update that you would say, okay, this is like worthy of 2.0 update? Crooks, I don't know if you want to
Um,
go ahead first on that.
You know, go ahead, Jay. Jay, go ahead, bro.
honestly, I would probably say the short hooks. The hit reactions are cool. That's not to say, but like just strictly gameplay. What I care about like the most, it will probably be the short hooks. Manny Pacquiao. Those would probably be the only two
No,
things.
I'm saying, what could they have done that you would have been like,
Oh,
oh,
what
this
could
is,
they have
yeah,
done?
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's easy. They could have slowed down back foot movement. I thought that would have been something to add alongside the hit reactions. I thought that would have been nice. Um, the body jab thing, I've reserved. I'll just say what I have about that. I don't want to go on that tangent. Uh, it could have slowed down backwards movement and then damage on regular punches. Those are like the two main things that I'm really big on. Especially coming back from talking to Ash. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no hope for desync at this point of it like being completely fixed. Maybe it could be mitigated a little bit better, and Bacon brought it up with the crossway. I think one of the main problems with the desync is just terrible matchmaking. So hopefully, with all three consoles being able to link up, you get people closer to you. Now that there's a larger pool, so hopefully that helps a little bit more. But yeah, that would be those would be the main two things. Because I saw a lot of people for some reason. I know it was a bug, so don't get on me in the comments. But I like the fact that Body Streets was dropping people. Like, oh, Boo J, oh, go back to UFC days. I like that. It made the game more dangerous. I got tired of just people fishing for counters and just throwing power punches. I like the fact that actual regular punches did something. Made me think twice before actually going in and doing something. That's the whole purpose of us playing a boxing game. So yeah, I think that would have been. I think those two things would have been cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I would have liked to see added, obviously Jay touched on a little bit with the footwork. Uh, just making inside fighting for shorter reach fighters a thing. You know, like it's damn near impossible to ring cut somebody if you're using a shorter fighter. So that really takes out it really takes out a lot of really good fighters like JCC, Julio Cesar Chavez, right? Like he's one of the more higher rated guys in every weight class he's in, but you hardly ever see him utilized because you have to fight outside. You have to fight off the back foot, and if you are using them, you're forced to use, you know, the broken body jab in order to close the distance effectively because you can't really ring cut anybody to keep him and utilize his swarming ability. So that would have been nice to have seen. You know, an adjustment or a tweak to the pullback that everybody seems to be doing, the back pull to try to mitigate getting countered. getting, to mitigate any kind of offense coming back your way. You see people abusing that everywhere. Everywhere. They'll
Mhm.
jab you, then they'll pull back or they'll step back and it's like it just creates this 50-50 spot every single time whether you're going to
Mhm.
land or you're not. And more than likely you're not because not only are you having to deal with that mechanic being busted, you're having to deal with desync on top of that, which already is causing its own problems with punch
Yeah.
tracking.
Yeah.
So definitely, I would have liked to have seen something done about that. I know CB came out and said something today about they're gonna look into it. So hopefully, that's not a major long wait time on something like that because I feel like that's gonna be a game changer. Um,
Mhm.
but as well as just trying to, I know when the content creators went and talked to Ash, Cold Blooded had mentioned something about you know the finals being able to incorporate something to deal with their own desync. So I know he mentioned it maybe to Ash Habib about or to one of the developers about maybe looking in and contacting them to see how they went about it. Because I know overall it's not going to be able to be fixed, but there are things that they could do to kind of make it somewhat easy, somewhat more playable, and not as big as of a deal as it is right now. But I know also, that kind of goes into having dedicated servers, which Undisputed right now doesn't have. Hopefully, with Undisputed 2, they do add that into the game. I feel like that, in terms of, the connectivity issues that we have, will address some of that too, as well as, trying to fix the coding on the desync for Undisputed 2. But in terms of something that I hope that they add going forward, number one is going to be the footwork. Uh, fixing that pullback, and then fixing the stamina taxes on the diagonal dodges. So that way, people are gassing out the way that they should be if they're moving too much and they don't have a high stamina stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like the footwork especially. I don't know if someone mentioned it a long while ago, but there was a unique idea where, you know how sometimes you'll fight people who will constantly just back up, maybe poke you once, and then just keep moving and moving all around the
Mhm.
ring.
Mhm.
Possibly introducing a system to where something can tax their stamina, because you can only continue to do that for so long before your stamina really starts to kind of really wear on you. And that'd be good for patient fighters who like to, close the distance from them running around everywhere. Like I know some people don't have like the craziest gas tanks, but
Yeah.
something like that would be really helpful. And then, much like UFC, like a proper vulnerability system. Like, if someone's coming in, like, for a body jab, for instance, someone's going for that lunging body jab and you're at the perfect distance, you uppercut them as they come in. And that should be like major damage and other ways that you guys can think of to counter. I feel like there's not enough reward for really punishing those who make those kinds of mistakes. But I think with
Yes.
this inclusion, I think they're starting to move in that direction. So I'm hoping as the updates come out that they'll continue to really look into that because counters, especially and stamina, I think are some of the things they haven't touched a lot on, and I hope that they do that in the upcoming updates. Badman, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, for one, vulnerability system, obviously. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
if
Yeah.
and if you play UFC, like I feel like personally it might be a little bit like overtuned there to like match whatever vibe they're going for. You don't even have to go that far. Just have something where like it logically makes sense. If you are in a position like that, like imagine if we had that, the step in body jab wouldn't be the issue that it is right now. If we just had that. Um, I'll also say anyone in real life do that diagonal dodge thing like 4 times in 1 minute, and you will be breathing heavy. That should cost stamina. The fact it doesn't is crazy to me. So definitely those are no brainers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is pretty wild that
Got
it
them
doesn't
skates
cost as
on.
much stamina. Yeah.
Got them skates on, bro.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
about to say, if you guys had anything regarding any other things involving the update that you guys wanted to add on.
Uh, oh, I think the character creator online is pretty cool as well. That would probably be one of the last things. I thought that's a pretty good addition.
Yeah. gonna say,
Yeah.
especially, I don't know. Actually, that's one thing I wanted to know. Does that also apply to the licensed fighter's career? Because I'll tell you now, the first character that I completed a career with, aside from my creative character, was George Davy. And I would really like to use my career version of George Davy online.
That's a
I
good
really
question.
would.
That'd actually be dope. That'd actually be
Like
crazy if you could do that.
certain
That'd be dope.
fighters who, obviously it's one of those concepts that somebody brought up. I don't know if we talked about it on the last stream either, but one other little fun thing to include. Imagine kind of taking away the overalls and then just kind of using who you enjoy as a fighter and just kind of
Hmm.
playing without the overalls. I think that would promote more variety because I don't know about you guys. You probably still see the same fighters being used constantly. I think even with some of the DLC that's come out, their stats, their overalls do play a role. And obviously not every boxer is made equally. There are some people that are just good for a reason. But
Yeah.
for a gameplay sense, you don't want it to become dry where all you see is the same fighters. So having these fighters with their unique move sets is great and all, but if they're not as strong, people are still going to go back and use what they feel is best and they're more comfy with. So maybe having a mode to where that doesn't really matter and you can just use who you want and just kind of have it be about who just does it better in terms of skill and things like that. I don't know if that's something they ever look into, but
But I feel like Bacon, to that point, like that's how it was before. Like if you think about like early access days, the way that
mhm,
the skill gap was then, you could use a lower ranked fighter against a really high rated fighter and you
yeah,
could do well if you were skilled. And like I think if they clean up some of the gameplay, that kind of thing can naturally happen.
come back. Yeah, I believe that too. It's something that I've missed. It's like league play and things like that. People will, like I said, they'll go for what's the best because if you want to win, you go for what you know is going to do the job. So them kind of cleaning up the gameplay, like you mentioned, will bring that back to have those fighters. Because like you have all these fighters in the game, you guys are only using like 10 of them. Make our make
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like our job is to go and get you guys more fighters. Use them.
Yeah.
Why are we not using these fighters we're working so hard to put in the game? So, I feel that. That brings us to DLC then. Since I think we like how many we're getting? 11, I think.
Yeah,
Is it
11.
11 of them? I think
Yeah,
this is the
11.
most we've ever gotten in an update thus far.
Hmm.
So I think the question I do want to touch on is our two free fighters, Bugsy and Lupe. Not gonna lie, I never would have guessed that they would have been able to be in the game. I do know that they're fans, which is cool, but how do you guys feel about them being included as free fighters at this moment in time? Do you think this was the proper time to put them in, or do you think they should have come in on like a different time? Like, what do y'all think? Cool.
Personally,
Okay.
is it doesn't really bother me as much as
Hmm.
people think it should. I mean, dude, I've played Undisputed 2010. That's like one of my favorite combat sports game ever, and that game has fucking Shaquille O'Neal in it. Like, like stuff like that really doesn't bother me. They're free, so I literally have the choice not to use them anyway. I'm going
Yeah.
to use them because it's content, but I have the choice not to use them after that.
Right.
Um, and it seems like it was a contract thing to get them to do specific license songs for Undisputed. So I guess this should be more evidence though, to y'all point where y'all talked about. And it was something that Darkside brought up and Juice brought up in Vegas when we are talking to Ash getting rid of ratings. It kind of
Hmm.
gets rid of this problem. Because we were told the rating itself really isn't, it doesn't mean anything anyway. So just get rid of it. It defeats the problem of why is Jake Paul higher than this person and
Hmm.
why is the rapper higher than this person? You completely get rid of that problem. So yeah, but in terms of the boxes, I don't care.
Yeah. It's like said that they're free, so you have the
Yeah.
option to use them or you don't have to use them. I just know that it just blew people's minds when they saw those two, and it's like, whoa! Like out of all the fighters you could have picked, you picked these guys over the people. Like some people make arguments you could have put in, Saul Poppy, KSI, Logan Paul, and call it a day. But again,
Yeah.
they're free, so at
Yeah.
least we get to play as them, and they do contribute to the game, and they do
Yeah.
like the game, from what my understanding too. Crooks, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, it makes sense when you realize they're on the soundtracks. They make most of the music, or they made a couple of the tracks that we listen to. They're investors. From what I remember, when I looked up Lupe Fiasco, he invested in the game a little bit, so it makes sense. And it's not uncommon, like Jay was saying. I mean, in other combat sports games, I mean, you look at UFC 5. I mean, or I think no, actually, I
UFC
think it was
4
UFC 4.
with
Yeah, you had
Action
Action
Bronson. Yeah.
Bronson. Yeah, you had Action Bronson on there, bro, and like he didn't even chip in on the game. More than likely, he's just an avid MMA fan. You know what I mean? So it's nice to, it's nice to see, special guest fighters. That's what I would classify them as, is like special
Yeah.
guest fighters. So I mean, it's nice. Now I was telling people it could be worse, because people were telling me like about why would they add them, like why all this stuff, and it's like, well, they could have been part of the paid DLC pack. Then we really would have
Yeah.
had an issue with
Yeah.
taking
We
That
would
would
have
spots.
a
have been a
problem.
different
Yeah.
conversation.
That would have
Yeah.
been a problem. That
Yeah,
would have
then
been a
that would have
problem.
been a huge problem, and that's where a lot of people were kind of coming at Undisputed in terms of an SCI about Jake Paul, because they're like,
Mhm.
well, why is he getting added before we're getting some of these other boxers that you guys had promised us? So, I don't mind it. I mean, I'm gonna play with them, like Jay said. It's content.
Yeah.
It's fun. I'm one of those guys that uses lower overall guys in weight classes, so I'll probably use them a couple times to get get a good feel on how they play in the game, but I don't mind it too much, to be honest.
Okay. Badman, did you have anything to add?
I mean, I think that says it as far as the reasoning behind it, and I'll just say like people who like questioning why, just think about like this is a video game that they're trying to get like a lot of people to play, and one way you can do it is to put people in that people know outside of just boxing.
Hmm.
So, I think that also is why they did Jake Paul when they did. Like, it gets a certain type of boxing audience to look at the game that might not have before. So, I think that's why. I honestly don't care, but I would have cared if this DLC otherwise was like really bad.
Right. Yeah, people have to kind of look at the bigger picture and marketing as well. If you want to try and do things like you said to appeal to as many people as possible in a way that it brings more eyes to the game. And I think by doing that, that is pretty good on them to do it. The crossplay especially being included as soon as it is, that's another good way to get people to play as well. And guest characters is always a pretty big surprise in any fighting game because you never know who it might be. It could be a rapper, could be someone from a whole different series, things like that. I mean, that, if anything, could be a telltale to see, other boxers that we might not even expect in the future. So having those two as free fighters, that means, guest characters, being free fighters. Maybe that's the thing they could do in the future and continue that going. I think people would like that. That'd be really cool. But I guess we'll just have to see as things pan out. DLC wise, is there anything else that you guys wanted to make a mention of in terms of fighters? Are you guys thinking about like the move sets? Do you think maybe a few of them might be unique, or do you think that we might have more unique fighters this time around? Not
Yeah,
just Manny?
like Crooks was saying, and Batman with the whole uniqueness thing. It looks like Manny is gonna get it, so hopefully Sergey Kovalev has some type of uniqueness to him, and Mario. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm pretty happy with the DLC. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Okay.
I mean,
Now,
I do think it kind of like it definitely helps to have them have some kind of uniqueness. I really don't know. With this large of a pack, I'm like kind of skeptical that they're all gonna have, unique animations, to be honest.
Yeah, I
well,
think after the last one with Augustus and To, I was like, okay, Okay, I think they're starting to catch on a little bit more, but like, making it worthwhile. So especially with a pack as big as this one, you have Manny Pacquiao. All eyes are going to be on the game. You have to do it right.
Yeah, there's definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
I just
so.
can't wait to test them out and see how they feel. Yeah, I just actually can't wait to play, to be honest with you. That
Yo,
reminds.
sorry, Bacon, but
Go
from
ahead.
I run a league, so like I just think about stuff from like comp and a league perspective. Um, I'm really excited about it from that perspective too, because I mean Manny will be high rated, and some of the others might be like semi high rated, but this is like a whole pack of like that mid to
Mhm.
high tier,
Yeah.
which I love because that gives so much more playability to those weight classes.
Hmm.
For them to for us to see like creative and interesting matchups. So it's not like Bacon, you said like people play the same few characters over and over. This type of pack is where okay, now we get this influx. Maybe we'll start to see some of those guys. I think that from like a league content and comp perspective, I think that has me excited too about the pack.
Yeah, that's about to say. Speaking of leagues, that's another thing. I think we kind of talked about it briefly early on in the show, where how the crossplay and everything might affect things. I guess the question I have for you guys is in terms of the update affecting, how the leagues run, how do you think I'm sorry, I'm trying to gather it all in my mind. How do you think this update will impact the leagues as a whole, especially with the inclusion of the creative fighter being online? That might promote some ideas, I think. Badman, since
Yeah, you
go ahead and
shit.
talk about you. You take that one. Since you got a league, you take that one.
Man, I think that's why I probably said it 100 times now. Like if it all goes well, it could
Hmm.
all go bad, you know what I mean? But if it goes well, it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
Thinking about
Yes.
crossplay, just that alone, it adds so many matchups that we couldn't have before. In UFL, we're like approaching 1,000 members, and like they've all been in their little segregated pots. Now we get to all be in one world, and we get to see, like, we really get to see now. Again, if it all goes well, we get to see like who the best people are. I love that possibility. I also think to something that I think Jay you said too. The thing about online, I don't think desync is necessarily getting like improved, but the
Mhm.
fact that you do have such a like more of a bucket of players to like match up with, that alone could help. And then if you look at a league perspective, that helps a lot. Like you could start to see maybe region versus region type stuff happen. Um, so that as far as the cross play, huge W. And then the creative fighter I'm a guy like I won't ever touch that, but I could put my creative hat on and my league hat on and say like that opens up a whole world of possibilities too as far as the leagues go. And I'm
Mhm.
really excited to like get in there, implement that and see like how it goes. It's going to have its flaws and that might even be kind of fun to like kind
Hmm.
of figure out how that works and then, tweak that. So, I'm excited from a league perspective. I saw this update, those 2 points and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we
It's
made it."
exciting times. Yeah, it's exciting. Like we didn't think this was going to happen for a while. So when they actually announced it, it was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
If they gotta the train is moving a little faster than I anticipated, but that's great. I'm glad they're coming. Jamie, did you have anything to add to that?
I mean, Batman pretty much covered it. Yeah, he pretty much covered it. I think it just opens up a lot more creativity, makes things a lot easier. I was talking with Priasis about this. You don't have to do Xbox tournament, Xbox division, this division,
Hmm.
that. It kind of just like it makes it ups the competitiveness and makes everything easier to manage. So yeah, Batman hit the nail on the head, man.
Jay,
Very good.
you spoiled, bro. You didn't have to do, you didn't, bro. You didn't have to do Crown with, with 12 Xbox players in the world.
Oh man. With that, speaking of that, I think that makes it better because I'm starting to realize now there's really not that many like it's not a lot of Xbox guys. So I think
No.
it does kind of like it makes them not feel left out. Like a platform doesn't feel left out anymore
Yeah.
because PC might have this many, then PlayStation might have this many, and then it's just like Xbox has this many. So now everybody's just like in one boat. So
That's a great point. Yeah, that's
yeah,
a great
Yeah.
point.
Crooks, did you have anything to add?
I mean, I can't go against what two league runners you doing, bro. I don't run a league, but nah. To Badman's point and to Jay's point, having having the ability to have open competition from different consoles is gonna be nice. Being able to pit one great player from Xbox or one great player from PlayStation or one, pitting them against each other and being able to see really who's the best is going to be a sight to see. So I feel like the inclusion of everybody into one pot instead of having separate players on separate systems is going to be nice. So I can't wait
hmm
to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I want to say too, this is something that we won't know really till we see how it fleshes out, but a lot of people that watch the show probably know how leagues work, but if you don't, like every league basically has rules. And we have rules to put everyone kind of on the same page that and to combat some of the broken mechanics that are like inherently in the game, right?
Hmm.
So looking at the patch notes, like that the hooks being changed, that step and body jab being changed, those types of things, that is what can really help the league scene and the competition scene in general to not have to have so many rules. And I'm excited to see how that kind of plays out as well.
yeah,
Yeah. Because, we want to promote the game as much as we can. We want to show people that high play, the game looks great. It'll encourage more people to want to get involved. It'll encourage more people to want to play the game and maybe even try to do things on their own with it. Which brings me to our next topic. I think it was brought up earlier with Crwn. So for those of you, we talked about this briefly in the last stream. They've been making their announcements about, season two is about to start. So let's talk more about that. So Jay, give us the rundown on just Crown for those who might not have seen it, and then kind of things that we expect to see based on what's been going on so far, if you don't mind.
yeah. So right now, we're going into season two. So season one, we had the thing in Vegas with myself and 10 other people, and then Box wound up winning a belt. So now we're gonna do the whole team aspect now, trying to have it to where trying to make this like some sort of some really sort of grand event, with this season and then the whole league going forward. So I think this is gonna really kick it off. Gonna have people from ESBL and the UFL signing up, and then now with crossplay, it kind of it makes everything a little bit more interesting with who's drafting who and whatnot. 8 teams, everybody's running their teams the way however they see fit. Um, the way it's gonna go, there's gonna be weeks, but like those weeks have certain stipulations. Uh,
Hmm.
the draft is gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be live, so the captains are gonna be able to pick their players and whatnot, and then just it's just a lot of fun stuff, just to make everything feel special. And I think it's just really important. I'm not trying to follow the same formula as Batman, because he's doing his own thing, so I don't step on. I don't. I was telling him when I first met, I kept saying this, which is funny. I'm thinking about it now because I probably said it like 1,000 times. I was just like, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to be that guy. So with this, I kind of want to after this season, I kind of want to take a super long break, just like
Hmm.
let everybody just like try to reap the benefits of like whatever the season brings. Let everybody do their thing, and then we just come back with something else. Just try to figure out what we're gonna do for season three. I kind of have an idea of what we're gonna do. It's
Hmm.
more than likely gonna be season one, but better. So yeah, yeah. I think this is gonna be really fun though. This is gonna be really fun.
I'd
But
say
yeah,
it's
go
really cool that no, I was supposed to say it's really cool that you have the 8 teams and everything all set up and ready
ahead.
to go. So I guess the questions I have for you, for instance, for those that are just now finding out about it, when is the, I guess you'd say, deadline for people sending in applications? Because I'm sure the draft pick is probably not too far off with the update coming
Yeah,
out.
so currently right now, because Undisputed has been working like pretty much a lot with this DLC, means been getting, pushed back a little bit, which I don't have a problem with, I can stay
Mm-hmm.
patient. But now that I got that figured out and settled, once I get because everything else is figured out, we just gotta figure out like an actual time that works for everybody.
Yeah.
So once that is figured out, uh I'll announce it, which will probably either it'll be closer to when the update releases, like I've been telling everybody.
Yeah.
Once that comes out, I was talking to Batman about it. I'll probably give it like another day. And then after that, we just shut everything, close it off, and then do what we do with that, and then just give all the captains and everybody time to just look through everything, figure out what they want to do, and then we go draft, and then we go straight into the first week of the season.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it. Sounds like everything is getting to the point where it's wrapping up. Everyone who sent their applications, if you haven't, I highly suggest you do because we're getting close to that time.
Mhm.
Not to mention, if you can, Jay, is there anything that you can mention in regards to, like, say, for example, the winning team? Is there anything that possibilities, like maybe another event, much like the Las Vegas event that you guys had? Do you think there might
Um,
be something like that again?
no, there will be something like that again. Fingers, not fingers crossed, but I don't want to spoil too much for season three, but I think season three is probably going to be some of the season one was just done so much on the fly. I didn't
Hmm.
really get to do like much, so this is why season two is like I'm showing like pretty much everything I want to do. So with season three, I think I can kind of get back to the roots of that. Doing it with the creators, that's going to be pretty fun. But in terms of like the season rewards and everything, I've been talking with some of those guys, and we're gonna see we're gonna see with some people. I hate to be that person, but it's just be being honest. I don't know a lot of y'all, man. I can't just I don't know a lot of y'all. Y'all invite somebody out there, and then I'll be seeing how y'all be moving, man. Your cat gets sick the day of an event.
Hmm.
The cat. You lose your mouse, your pet hamster. I don't want nobody. They pay for they pay for stuff, and then you lose your pet snake the day before. I ain't trying to hear it, man. So I gotta I'm just trying to. I want to see how this goes, but for the rewards, that's gonna be announced alongside the draft. So that's gonna be pretty cool as well.
Okay. Just another little question for that as well. In the event that that does happen, with the teams and the captains and everything, are you implementing a way to have substitutions in case something does happen with some players on the team?
Yeah. So the way I told captains, I allowed them to have one extra person, and
Mhm.
just in case for backup, especially now since it's crossplay, everybody's doing. There's no need to have specific consoles for specific stuff now. So yeah, I'm just allowing them to have backups for stuff and whatnot.
Okay. And for those substitutions, do they also need to send an application, or is it one of those, hey, we happen to know someone that would be really good?
Yeah, so
Like, yeah.
basically the way it would go would be, say for instance, Crooks in game, they
Mhm.
pick whoever they're gonna pick. They pick their drafting two people, and then they want to add someone else as like a substitute in case somebody pulls out. They can go into free agency, and you know they can go and do that.
Okay, no, that's
Yeah,
pretty cool. Yeah, that's a good. That's a good way to cover the tracks just in case, because you never know. Sometimes luck might happen, but when events like this, you could do something really cool. You don't want them to miss out. You don't want to waste your time, especially. So no, that's important to note.
Yeah.
Trying to think, is there anything else in particular? Badman, did you have any questions involving Crown?
I think maybe just to summarize that. So yeah, like the captains will draft two people. They could have an option of a third, and then everyone else will be considered in free agency and just be ready because you might get picked up, someone might get dropped. It's going to be a pretty long season, so a lot of stuff could happen. So everybody be ready. Most people, that I would say most people that put an application and they're at the top, they'll probably have a look. So make sure you get those applications in.
Hmm.
I did have a question though for Crooks, because Crooks, I'm not gonna ask Jay because he might not tell me because he's wear two caps. But I'm gonna ask Crooks because Crooks is a co-captain. So I'm gonna ask Crooks, what are you thinking about as far as like how you're looking at the comp scene and how you're getting ready to pick your draft picks? What like you don't have to tell me who, but like tell me a little bit of that strategy.
What really goes into it for me, at least, what I'm looking for is number one, knowledge of the game. Like, how well do you understand? Do you how much of an IQ? I feel like goes a long way for me because IQ means and how fast you can pick up and process information. It goes a long way for me because obviously we all know at the highest levels when you're playing against other elite level players, you're having to adjust on the fly. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. Like your plan A won't work, so you got to go to plan B. Then sometimes you got to go to plan C, then go back to plan A, and then kind of incorporate different stuff. So I'm looking at that as well as I'm looking at how coachable people are. Like because everybody's elite, but there's always new information to learn about the game.
Hmm.
So can you take, how do you take criticism? How do you take, you know, being, how do you take learning new and different traits like that, depending on each week? Like how Jay said that there's going to be certain scenarios each week. It might not play into your strength, but it plays into, your teammate's strength. So how do you function with learning new different things and being teachable but also being able to teach too. On top of that, if you know something, how well can you communicate it to your teammate to help get them ready? Because it's not just hey, I draft people and they're left on their own. So, you know, um, that's a really big thing. And then just your attitude, man. Like the attitude towards the game, the attitude towards the community. I really take something that really plays heavy on me is your reputation amongst the league. Like you could be a really good player, but everybody else just can't stand to be around you. Then there's a high chance, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool, you're good, but at the same time, like, you can go on somebody else's team because I don't really mess with
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
just going through and looking at everybody's applications, man, there's a lot of really good players that are applying. A lot of really good players. I'm getting DMs damn near every day talking about. I wouldn't mind being on your team, which I appreciate and I respect because people want to be, they want to do their due diligence and send messages and let people know that they would love to play for them. Um, but in terms of what I'm looking at, that's what I'm looking at. But at the same time, I'm a co-captain. So at the same time, it's not going to be just my team. So I have to consult with iGame You Watch and get his opinion on it, and then we'll go into the draft and we'll take who we feel is going to best fit what we're trying to work towards.
Yeah, not to piggyback off that because Crooks knows about just the UFC comp scene and it kind of just like intertwines a little bit. You see a lot of like when we was over there, you see a lot of these newer camps or just teams in general. They can
Hmm.
have the most elite people, but they just don't mesh well as a team. They just don't, and I think that's really important. And I think also what's important is just understanding not only what's at stake, excuse me, but understanding that it's not just you, it's not ranked. I think that's really important, just making the fights look good. I understand everybody wants to win. Shit, I want to win. I know Crooks want to win. Probably everybody wants to win. So I'm not saying like just don't sell the fight. Know
Hmm.
what I mean? But I think people have to understand not to just completely sell your integrity out for a win, because that was something really big as to why this whole thing started. And I keep telling people, we did not have rules. We had no rules set up for season one. There was no rules, no fighter bans. It was not. It was just okay. Here's the matchup for this week. Play, and then we just moving on. So I think stuff like that is really important to where everybody's on the same page on what we're trying to do.
Hmm.
Everybody's on the same page with their captains and what their team is trying to do. Most importantly, who's watching, the opportunity that you have, and how you're showcasing your fights. Because creators are making their own separate content around this thing as well and showing it to their separate audience. So that's important. That's why I really like Crix's point about just being coachable, being in this type of setting, So we'll see. I think it's going to be very interesting. It's
Yeah, and the and
very
the
We'll
piggy
interesting to
be.
see
and
the
and the
list.
piggyback off what Jay just said, just be professional, bro. Like you look at anybody that's in that plays, even like actual real life sports, not just combat sports. they don't do dirty stuff in games, man. Like they get kicked out if they do. They handle themselves like professionals on and off the field. So that's the way you got to be, man. Like this isn't all the content creators that are involved in this. We're taking time out of our lives to help promote the community. So if we're doing that and then you're coming around acting like a jack off, you know what I mean? Like you can't that's not what this is about, man. It's about, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing the coach that's drafting you, and you're representing the league that you come from. So
Hmm.
anything that you do or you say is a representation of all of that. So you just got to be professional. That's just at the end of the day what it is.
Yeah, and just to look at it, it's funny that you brought that up because now with this, I kind of like have had to learn on the fly that it's not just like I'm not worrying about me anymore. It's like it's not only me; it's a whole ecosystem depending on the decisions that are made by myself or made by Batman or made by whoever else. So it's not just one singular person. So I want to say this now. I'm going to reiterate this. We're going to have a whole community meeting, so everybody can be in there from Discord. But I want to reiterate this because I'm gonna say it now, then I'm gonna say it then, and I'm never saying it again. So I do not have a problem with banning, suspending, kicking. I seriously do not have a problem because for one, I don't care. Like I simply just don't care. And then for two, I'm not letting anyone get in the way of everyone else's opportunity. I just feel like that's very just self-centered and selfish. I don't want to see nobody running the bat. I'm telling you right now, don't DM bat. Batman's not gonna be able to save you. He's not. I'm sorry, he's not. You get banned, you get banned for a very good reason. So it's just like Crick said, bro. Just be professional. I'm not saying completely change, like not trash talking, because I'm gonna be in there trash talking. I've already started, to be quite honest with you. So it's like I'm not saying don't do that. I like that. I like the competitive nature of it. But just understand there's lines to not cross, things to say, things not to do. Everybody's watching, so just be. I gotta understand that. But yeah, I think Crooks made some very great points.
Okay. Well, that's very good. That's a very good explanation of what everyone to expect. And no, that's very good. So I hope people will look forward to that. Badman, did you have any statements to make regarding that?
Man, I feel like that's some really good insight from both of them. I'm really excited to see some of the guys in the community get to be on that stage and compete in a different way. Um, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I know you when you ask Jay, he's talking about, oh, maybe season three. No, I feel like this is gonna go really well, and we're gonna get something at the end of this. So y'all just stay locked in. Don't be, come on, like you gotta, like they're saying, you gotta be professional, man. But
Yeah.
I have faith in a lot of the guys, and I think it's gonna be a big success. Hopefully, Undisputed sees like this is what we've been doing over here on the comp side. This is what we've been doing. So they should support this more and more and more. Hopefully they'll see that, and hopefully the people that play also see that opportunity.
Hmm.
I'm kind of excited to see these two coach against each other. It's going to be kind of fire. Seeing all the teams against each other, it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, and there's just one last thing to piggyback off,
Hmm.
because Batman brought it up. I think going forward in the future, and it's something I've talked about privately with a lot of the creators because we're all cool. Understanding why it was only creator season one going forward eventually, I'm not gonna say I don't want it to be not just creators, because I think just having just create, it just adds something a little bit more special to it. But going forward, I don't want this to be such a secluded thing. But I think guys really have to like the way you play is just so big. It's such a big turn. I can't. I'm just, this is me being honest. I've had so many conversations with some of these guys, and they look at some like the way people play, and it's just a really big turn, and it does not align for what they want to do or what they think the league can be or will be or what it is currently right now. So like Cold Blooded said something, and it was just a great way. Not Cold, was it wasn't Cold Blooded, it was Wes. shout out to Wonder West, who's the lead analyst for the league. A lot of guys just don't understand the way they're playing is bad because they haven't had anyone to say, "Hey, that way you're playing is bad." They never heard anyone say that, so when they hear it, it's just like it's foreign language to them. So hopefully, with this, people change their ways. Hopefully, culture change, and then we get a season 4, season 5. Incorporate more people. People, they get the bigger picture. I think people are starting to get it now, but
Mhm.
I'm preparing for the struggles
Yeah.
with this.
Yeah.
I'm preparing for because I've ran UFC tournaments before, and it's such a pain. Like I've heard every excuse in the book. I heard it. Oh, my PC died the day of. My controller broke 2 hours. Like I've heard it all. So it's just like Crooks and Batman says, just not only professionalism, but just understanding the environment as well. Just going forward with everything.
Okay. Well, it sounds like there is a lot to look forward to, and you guys are going to be hearing a lot more from them very, very soon. So, like I said, for those of you that have not sent in any applications or have any questions regarding this, feel free to check back. Feel free to DM them, ask any questions you need to ask, have them review footage if you have any, and just prepare for a good time. I see a lot of good things happening with this too, and I hope that SCI will be hopefully watching, especially. We definitely want to iterate that we want this game to succeed. We want them to do well. We want everyone to have a good time. And most importantly, it is a good way to bring a bunch of communities together for just a very, very good time. So I think that's a pretty good note to end on. Thank you so much, Badman. Thank you so much, Jay. Thank you so much, Cooks, for being special guests on our show once again. And I'm sure this will not be the last time we have you guys here. That being said, I think this is a good way to close out the show. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Have a great night, guys.